Feel like I should be wearing a Superman shirt, but I am not, and that's okay. My name is Ray, and this is a channel that I started unbeknownst to me many years ago because of, if you sign up for Gmail, you get a freaking YouTube account as well. So I started using it a couple years ago. I tried streaming every day. That lasted about 9 days. And then Seth from the Horror Syndicate and I, of course, created the Horror Syndicate. We decided to do, talk about different things every once in a while. And we started talking about the Superman movies a few years ago, 2 years ago. We did Superman 3 and we did Superman Returns. Superman 4 and Superman Returns. So those are on this page. If So, this is kind of like a brand new channel, but not really because it's been here for a while. Matter of fact, I've had a single image loaded on the StreamYard for about 2 years. It's this one because we're going to be talking about Superman 3 finally after all this time. I'm very excited. Ahoy! Yes, V, how you doing, man? We miss you over at the Horror Syndicate up all night, man. This week Jason lives. Just saying. Anyway, so Seth and I decided to get back, put our noses to the grindstone, and start talking about Superman 3 again. So Seth is with me as always. He's like my Garth at this point. Seth, how's it going, buddy?
Party on, Ray.
Party on, Seth. Anyway, so did you get the chance to watch Superman 3 before we started?
I watched some of it, but I mean, I've seen it before, like many
Yeah, I
times.
mean, I've seen it plenty, I think. I watched it recently with my daughter, who just loved it. And Reynolds, my son, of course, he loves Gus Gorman. And who doesn't, you know? But I have to say, if I have to do it, Seth, I have to do it. You know I have to do it.
You have to whore yourself out.
Yes. Anybody who watches this, please hit the subscribe button. We have 67 subscribers. It'd be nice to get to 100 very soon. Share with your friends if you like what we're doing. And, the Rage of Razor is on Facebook as well. And right now, and if you've missed out, we've been rating all of the superhero movies. We've got through almost all the Marvel movies, almost all the DC movies. I think we might have gotten through them all already. Two Die Hard movies, and we're going to just keep rolling with action movies, Star Wars movies, all that good stuff. And that's what this channel is going to be about, right, Seth? We're going to talk about this stuff.
That's right.
And we're going to try to bring more people in as well to talk about all this different stuff, no problem, my friend, no problem. It's usually people who follow the channels or the pages or whatever. They find me and they friend me. V has yet to do that. I'm a bit taken back.
Well, I think he
Or
was
am I
looking at
very wrong?
he was rewatching the Scream 6 trailer and looking at the
Ah,
poster, and he's been really hard at work trying to figure out all the clues because he's
yeah, he's
huge,
putting it together.
huge fan.
I see. Yeah,
I'm waiting for a
Scream.
fuck you guys on that one.
Yeah, get our first Rage of Razor. Fuck you guys. So this show is called the Rage of Razor show. Even though Seth will be here probably most of the time, and then we'll try to get one or two more people in here. And if you watch the Horror Syndicate Up All Night show, and there it is. Oh, you don't have
That's
to. I
the
was just
spirit.
saying, huh? Yeah, that's the spirit. But if you're ever watched the Horror Syndicate Discourse, we do a show every Wednesday. But if you ever watched the Horror Syndicate Up All Night, which is our Friday show, we've been talking about the Friday the 13th movies and rating them on a 10, not 10-point scale, 10 category scale. And we're doing the same thing here. So we're gonna reveal. We went ahead and already did Superman Returns and Superman 4 because we did those shows and we frankly don't want to do them over. Well, at least I don't. So they're there if you want to watch them. They're from 2 years ago, and I think it was the first one we did was Superman 4. And let's just get into the scores real fast. Seth's score was 49%. Anything you want to say
Yeah,
about that? Okay.
yeah. Well, I mean, so Superman 4 was the one I watched, I think, the most when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah.
Because of Nuclear Man, and I always got a kick out of that part where that kid goes to ask Superman to do something about the nuclear missiles, and there's that newspaper heading that says Superman tells boy to drop dead.
Yeah.
And I always got a kick out of that.
That's funny.
But then just, watching it again as I get older, it's just like it's kind of tough to sit through. I still can watch it. I can still kind of have fun with it. I enjoy the fact that Superman is a complete dick in that movie.
2 movies in a row.
Yeah, and I love it because like in Superman 3, there's kind of like an excuse for it, because of the whole kryptonite thing.
Yeah.
But with Superman 4, he's just flat out a fucking dick, and I love it.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, pure nostalgia for me with this one. I loved it when I was a kid. It was the one I saw more than anything. And, so my score actually isn't much different. It's actually lower. I think that's a running theme with us is my scores are always going to be lower. So I give it a 45%. I know that when we did the ratings on Rage of Razor's Facebook page, which you should go like if you don't already, there's a lot of 1s and 2s on some of these. So the combined audience score and our score, we got 33% audience score. So that's the other thing is we're going to reveal audience scores. We're going to start doing that with the Horror Syndicate as well because we have 5-star ratings from a few years ago that we can do for Friday the 13th. But there you go. You guys who all ranked this one, which only is like 6 or 7 people, 33% for the Quest for Peace. It's a fun old 80s shitty movie with bad effects. Christopher Reeve's last ride as Superman, or flight, I guess. I like it for what it is, Yeah. Wonderful Golan and Glob. Blah, blah, I can never say that. Yeah. And then moving on to Superman Returns. I'm going to go first this time because my score is lower. This was disappointing coming out of the theater, although it was kind of a win because Lois Lane didn't have that poem in her head while they were flying around. I hated that in the first Superman movie. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but I like a lot about this movie. Like I love the casting of Brandon Routh. I thought he was very good as Superman, and unfortunately, I mean, we got to see him again in the Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever it was on the CW, and that was awesome because
with the Kingdom Come outfit.
With the Kingdom Come suit, and then later on he had a new suit, which I thought was fantastic. So I love the fact that he got kind of a swan song, but the movie stinks. I don't like Kate Bosworth. The kid made Superman a deadbeat dad. There's a lot of issues for me in this one, but overall, it is what it is. It's boring. It's slow. It's too long, and it's shot beautifully. But then some of the effects look really bad, like when he's in space flying, and he looks like he's plastic almost. Seth, you had a higher score. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, just because I think, especially, I don't know, I guess in comparison, which I shouldn't compare them, but like, it's just a much better looking movie than, especially 3 and 4. The effects are better. The score, I thought, I really liked the score in this one.
Yeah, it's a good score
from John Ottman, but
you like your score too, from the looks of it. Oh.
But well, I mean, this movie is definitely not one of my favorites, but I think it's got a lot of potential. I really like Brandon Routh as Superman. Trying to think here. I did like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. But I think the problem with this movie is it's too married to the Richard Donner movie.
Yeah. Yep.
And instead of just being its own thing, which it should have been. I
agree.
And Kate Bosworth, I think, is miscast as Lois Lane.
Big time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like some of it has potential, but then just not a lot happens in it. It's basically Superman stalking Lois Lane for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's true. And it's got that, I think that first airplane sequence was really cool.
Yeah.
But then, you don't have much. I mean, you got Lex Luthor as a villain again, and it's back to that whole
That
real
old chestnut.
estate scheme, and so there's not like much for Superman to do in
And there
this
was no
movie.
shout out for Otisburg. What's that about?
They, yes, exactly. I mean, how could you disrespect Otisburg like that?
I know. It's like, come on, that should have been in there from the get go.
Yeah,
Instead, you have Kumar.
yeah,
Kumar.
yeah. So it's just it's. I feel like the reason why I rated it high because I
He's
think
not
it
even a
does have
husband either. Just
yeah,
cyborg
and
husband.
like I don't know. I feel like it's got a lot of potential. It's got
Mhm.
some good things going for it, but it's just in the end, it's kind of a mess, and it's unfortunate too because Ralph was very good in the role, and I would have at the time, especially liked to have seen him continue on. But
Yeah, me too. After seeing him on the CW show, I was watching that. I was like, holy shit, I miss him. Like
yeah,
give me him on TV. I mean, nothing against Tyler Hoechlin or however you say his name. I like him, but I mean, Ralph I feel like he embodied Superman. Like the looks, the height, everything about it. Because he's got to be tall. He can't be 5'3" like your brother once.
yeah. But that that's the kind of shitty part. Is like they did him dirty again with
Hmm.
Crisis because like he's in it and he's cool, and then all of a sudden he's just like he's out, and Lex Luthor is part of the group of people.
Yeah, he's the whatever of the champion of something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I actually liked John Cryer's version of Lex Luthor, but
which is
like
fun because he was in Superman 4.
yeah, exactly. Lemmy. Um, yeah, so
Mm.
it was just like it was a
Whoa,
shame that
whoa. Sorry.
yeah, it was a shame that he didn't have a bigger role in Crisis because he should have,
Yeah, it was, and
especially wearing that suit.
yeah, that suit. Okay, that's something I wanted to mention, and I may have that on my phone. Let me see if I do. If I do, then I can send it to myself and put it on the screen. Actually, it's on the Facebook page, Rage of Razor, I do believe. Let me see. Because I was going to say that suit, in my opinion, may be the best screen used suit, live action suit so far out of all the suits. I mean, I like Cavill's suit quite a bit, but that's another thing we could rank as the suits at some point.
Yeah,
But man, the the suit that he wore, both of them, which you don't really get to see all of the second one, you get to see it for like a split second. But man, those suits are my favorites, and I've always liked the Kingdom Come. I used to have a T-shirt, but I outgrew it. Oh, here we go. I got him. I got
Kingdom
him.
Come is like Kingdom Come is like one of my favorite comics ever.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, it's a good one.
I
Hey,
love that
tell
one so
Reynolds
much.
that because I'm trying to get him to fucking read it. It's
Oh, Reynolds, read it.
Yeah, I got it. I told him I was like, I got two that you absolutely must read. He's like, what's this one? I'm like, well, this is Kingdom Come. He's like, what's this one? I'm like, well, this one's Crisis on Infinite Earths. So yeah, here it is. That suit is gorgeous. I love it. I love the extra stroke line they put around the S of black, and I like that it's not. I like that they made his logos all plastic looking.
Yeah,
Or not plastic. You know what I'm saying? Plus, the color is perfection.
it's yeah. Well, because it's different, but it's still kind of consistent with the suit that he wore in Returns.
Yes, but the suit he got later on was even better, which I think is this way. Yeah, that one. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's like when I saw that at the end of that episode, I was like, son of a bitch. Can we please just get him in a movie? There's him in his regular suit. What's the next picture? Oh, hey, all right. We'll get there. Anyway, yeah, there he is again. And there's a meme. I love you 100. Yeah, it's at 3,000. All right. Anyway, check out Rage of Razor for more laughs if you have not already. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we got for Superman Returns as far as our scores go. Now, the grand total overall, including the audience score, is 64% between the two of us. And Audience score, and again, this was voted on by you guys. We did the 9 point, 10 point scale, and I added them up and divided them how many people, and it came out to 54%. Or really, it's 5.4, but you know what? It's 54% because we're doing percentages. That's right. We're high class up in this joint.
It's pretty.
I think those are both fair scores. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
And they're pretty
overall,
close to each other too. So
right? Yeah, it's not too too far off the mark.
I think I
Uh,
ranked it a little bit higher than a lot of other people. But
well, I think you also have a giant boner for what's his name, Brandon Routh.
no, this is really it's a half chobe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this: you're making a Superman movie. You have the choice of Routh, Hoechlin, or Cavill. Who are you choosing?
I'm choosing Cavill.
Okay. And that's another thing we're going to do here on this channel is we're going to get into that DC stuff eventually. What the hell's going on there? I think I'm going to wait till after we get the the announcements from James Gunn, which is coming up, because this is like I was like whenever that stuff happened went down, I was like I'm fucking rebooting Rage of Razor because this is driving me crazy. This bullshit. Now, because all I want to do is talk about like I love horror, Seth. You love horror, but for me, I can't speak for you. I think I like this stuff better. Like I'm a big comic book guy. I read comics. I've been reading Batman since I was like 7. You know, and I write comics.
I,
So
I- I'm in a similar boat because like I was a comic book fan before a horror fan.
yeah, me
Like
too.
I was into comics at a really young age. My dad was an artist.
He
My
was. I
dad,
didn't know
yeah, he's actually really good. Um, he owned a comic book shop for a while.
that. He did.
And, oh
I'm
yeah,
finding so much out about you.
yeah, and like he had his collection was huge, and I would always like go in his bedroom and just like look through his comics and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So like I'm a huge comic book fan, and that was long before I really. I mean, I was into horror pretty young, but I didn't love horror until I was a little bit older.
yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, for me, I've always loved horror. It's always been there. But there's only so much horror a kid can watch. You know what I'm saying? And then, like everybody knew who Superman was growing up, regardless of seeing any movies or anything like that. And everybody, Batman and Spider Man and all this stuff. Everybody knows these characters. And like I don't know. I always loved Batman because of the way he looked originally. That was pretty much it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's because of his detective skills and blah blah blah. I was 7 years old, okay, when I started reading Batman, so I can't say that. But I've always liked it. And then once you get into reading comics, it starts opening up a brand new world and different worlds. I mean, and plus when I got in, the story I'll tell you is we were at my stepdad was a Marine and we lived in North Carolina at the time, and we were at the place called the commissary where we went and grocery shopped. And while we were sitting in the checkout line, I saw a Batman comic. So I'm sitting there thumbing through. This is back when they had the spinner racks and grocery stores. And so I was thumbing through. I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And my mom's like, if I buy that, will you read it? I was like, yeah, because it was early on in reading. I was 7. So I got home and she helped me read it and I read it and everything. And uh, this was when Jason Todd was Robin. Okay. And the issue I bought, he was searching for his mother.
ooh,
Yeah. So you know where I'm going, right?
yeah,
So I'm really enjoying this and I'm really like, come on, I hope Jason finds his mom. And by the time we get to one of the second to last episode or comic, the Joker's there and he beats the shit out of him with a crowbar. And I'm like, what the heck? And then certain things happen and they killed off Robin right away. I'm like, this sucks. And then Batman was alone. I stopped reading comics for a few years because I started getting into sports more. And then I think it was 1993. I was like, I'm going to get back into comics because we moved right by a comic shop. And the guy's like, oh, you're just in time. They're introducing a new villain. I'm like, oh, cool. Who is it? He's like, his name's Bane. I'm like, awesome. So I start reading what was called Nightfall, and by the fourth issue or so, they broke Batman's back. I'm like, I can't read comics. Robin dies, Batman gets his back broken. It's like, God damn it. So, it's fine though, because I ended up sticking with comics after that for through high school, and then I got back in about 2005 when Infinite Crisis came out. So it was a good
Did
time.
you
And
did you
Hmm?
oh sorry.
Go
Did
ahead.
you call in to vote?
No, I didn't. I would have voted to keep him alive, but I don't think it would have mattered if I would have called in. I was only 7, and I think we were behind anyway because I think the comics that were coming to the commissary were like a month behind. So I
Oh,
would have been late
yeah.
anyway. But yeah, 11 part. Yeah, I'm so yeah. I don't know by heart because there were so many tie-ins to Nightfall anyway. Um, but yeah, so that's how I got into comics, and I love comics, and ever since I read, I can't remember which comic it was. It was a Batman comic that came out when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and it was like just kind of like I can't remember what the hell it was called. Anyway, it made me want to write comics. I'm like, this is so cool. I could create characters and all this different stuff. I could write Batman with my eyes closed. I think I've read so many Batman comics. It's preposterous. Probably closer to 500-600 Batman comics overall. So, but I'm also 42 years old, so it's like 35 years of reading comics. Anyway, do you want to tell about you? You already did. You talked about your dad and stuff, which I didn't know, and I'm really offended that you never told me.
I thought I did before.
No, you never did. And here I am trying to get you into writing comics, and you kind of have a background already. I thought you were just a fanboy, like me, like so many. All right. Anyway, so let's talk about Superman 3. I could go on about how much I love comics and my favorite story arcs and shit from Batman all day long or Superman. But let's talk about Superman 3 because we got the ratings ready to go. We're gonna at the end of all this, we're gonna have our full rankings based on the Roar score. By the way, I put it on some of them, but not all of them. The Roar score, it stands for Rage of Razor. So it's yeah, Rage of Razor score. Anyway, yeah, Richard Pryor, baby. Gus Gorman. So this, I think, was the first one I showed my son a couple years ago, and now he's balls deep into Smallville. We're about to finish season 6. He loves Superman. Wants me to get him a Superman costume, by the way. I asked him, I was like, which one do you want? He's like, the Man of Steel costume. I was like, okay, I'll remember that. So I was like, you need to fill out though, you scrawny bitch. No, but anyway, Superman 3. So first of all, we get dollar store Lex Luthor, even though I like him. I do like him. I like his sister and the blonde girl, which I never remember their names. Do you?
No,
Is it Vera maybe or something? Let me look it
something
up
like
'cause
that.
I can't remember their name. They're so inconsequential to the series. It's like could they not get Gene Hackman back? Is that why they brought in this other guy?
That's what I was kind of wondering too, because it's weird that like Gene Hackman's not in it, but the villain is basically essentially Lex Luthor, just different cast. Um, and then Margot Kidder, she only has like cameos
Oh, her
essentially.
name is Vera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
So
Luke.
it's weird.
It is. Well, I like that they diverted from that. You get 2 full movies with Margot Kidder, Lex Luthor, Zod, all that stuff, and then you get Webster and his sister Vera, and then Lorelai. I got their names now, and of course the enchanting Annette O'Toole as Lana Lang, which I was very happy to see. I love her, and again Smallville connection. She was Martha Kent.
Why'd you say that name?
Martha, would you say that name? Um, I love Annette O'Toole in that role, by the way, as Martha. She was fantastic. Yeah, you're right. Margot Kidder was barely in it. I mean, Jimmy Olsen broke his leg or something like that at one point. So they basically took Superman away from his comfort zone in this movie, and that's something I don't think people kind of appreciate. He didn't have Lois there, he didn't really have Jimmy there. He got to go back. We got to go see Smallville, which is really kind of fun. Smallville has an airport also, so it's not that small, because at one point Lana's like, "Operator, give me the phone number for Smallville Airport's like, what the fuck? Smallville has an airport?
Well, they're in the process of changing the name to Largeville.
Yeah, Largeville.
I love Annette O'Toole as Lana.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like almost like Returns, like this one had a lot of potential too. Because you don't need Lex Luthor back as a villain, right? His storyline was done with two. I felt like, and so I felt like it was kind of a mistake to have another villain who's the Lex Luthor type instead of going into a completely different direction.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems with this series is we get to see a glimpse of Superman fighting superpowered beings in Superman 2, but then he goes back to fighting a millionaire and a computer hacker who he just lets off with a slap on the wrist. Really, not even that.
Yeah.
Just drops him off at a coal mine. But the cool thing is we do get just like Avi said, Superman in a bar. And I fucking love the scene where Superman and Clark Kent kind of separate and fight in the junkyard. That was my favorite scene of all the Superman movies until Man of Steel. I love it. I love what they did to his costume, making it dingy and he flies around being a dick. He messes up that oil tanker. He's definitely having sex with Lorelei, hitting the skins, doing all that good stuff. So there's a lot of fun about this movie that I don't think people, because it's funny. The title of this is Superman 3 Underrated, actually, which is from Office Space. If you've never seen Office Space, Michael Bolton, he says, what Gus Gorman's plan is what they do in that movie, basically, and he says it's an underrated movie. And I went back and bought the movie because I was like, Superman 1 and Superman 2 back in 2000 are the only two Superman movies that are worth watching. I was that edgelord like Keith. And so I went back and I bought a VHS copy of Superman 3 and I watched. I was like, this is underrated. I do like this movie. It's not that bad. But there's a disappointment when you don't have some of these other iconic villains. And I think that's the biggest issue with this movie. You get somebody made up for the movie with his little band of merry men with Gus and Vera and Lorelei, and then the giant computer, which if they saw what computers look like today, it's really small. But this is not going to consume me and make me an evil Vera bot. But why wasn't it Brainiac though? And it's like Parasite and Brainiac and all these other characters somebody could have been in there, But
I could see Ross Webster being like Brainiac, and then maybe like his sister being like their version of Metallo or something.
Yes, that's another thing. Metallo gets no fucking love in any of these movies.
No,
he shows him Smallville. And Brian Austin Green from Beverly Hills 90210.
I liked him as Metallo.
He was actually good. And I like the way that he looked with the chest piece and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think there's a lot to be desired with this movie, but it's still fun. It's still a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about things that we don't like about this movie. And then we'll talk about things that we do like. And then we'll reveal our scores. First thing I'm going to say is I don't like Margot Kidder's bikini that she decides to wear. It's very stripper in the 2000s. I love Margot Kidder, but that bikini, well, I didn't want to see her in that. No. We already talked about the villains I didn't really care for as much. I do like Gus Gorman, but the part where Superman gets the kryptonite and that's when he turns bad or whatever, Gus Gorman doesn't look like a military man. Like, how can anybody? How could he pass as a military man with that mustache and his afro? I was in the military. You can't have that stuff. So that kind of always bothered me. I don't like Lana's kid very much. She's kind of annoying. Ricky.
I mean, all kids are, but
Well, I don't think mine are annoying at all.
I'm joking. I'm a dad.
I know you are. But what am I? Oh, but yeah, I mean, there's not much that I don't like. I think the entertainment level of this one's high. What about you? What are some of the things you're not a fan of? I love the opening, by the way. I forgot about that. The opening when like just hell breaks loose in Metropolis. The
That's a
car
fun.
fills up with water and shit like that. But that
Yeah,
scene was amazing.
that's a fun sequence.
Yeah.
I think overall, like one of the things with this one for me is like, okay, I get it. Richard Pryor is a great comedian, but I don't understand the decision to go to lean so heavy on the comedy with this movie. And
Mhm.
like I like the idea of Gus Gorman's character where you have this guy he does something bad, but he's not a bad person, and he gets kind of sucked into this whole plot with the actual bad people. But I think with it being Richard Pryor, it kind of takes away. It's just sort of like a distraction from that idea, that we're following this everyday man who makes a bad decision, and all that. Um, yeah, I just think the comedy in it is kind of baffling to me.
It's not really that good. Like that whole sequence where he gets drunk with Brad.
Yeah,
Like, was that really necessary? And why is that stuff like in
is it?
Smallville?
Yeah, I mean that's it. It was a lot of the comedy in there was just for the sake of having Richard Pryor in there, and it kind of took away from some of the elements that could have worked, like Clark returning back to Smallville, reuniting with Lana,
Mhm.
you know, going dark side with because of the kryptonite thing, which I don't quite understand. Um,
It's missing
why
an
they
element. So like, hey, let's bend Superman's mythos by doing our own thing, which.
I'm just surprised they didn't go with like red kryptonite or something.
Which, yeah, I mean that would make more sense.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The comedy thing. Richard Pryor was a big star at the time, so he did. Actually, I don't know how well the toy that did, but I remember watching it a ton whenever I was growing up, and I did like Richard Pryor. I don't remember watching this one much when I was a kid because Superman 4 was the one that was on all the damn time.
this one was my least favorite of the four when I was younger. I think I like this one a little bit better than Quest for Peace now, but like
Yeah,
back then, this is the one I would watch the least.
yeah. I didn't even have a copy. I had to wait until it was on HBO or something like that, and. But like I said, after watching it again when I was like 20, I really I liked it a lot better. And not and I guess I looked past some of the comedy and took it for what it was. Like I love the bowling scene. I just there's this is a movie of scenes for me that I just like certain scenes. Fixing the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Shit like that. He's just being a jerk.
Those are my favorite moments. I was waiting to save that for my favorite.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about right now. Yeah, yeah, I know. He's just going around being a complete dick, flicking pennies at the or the mirror and breaking it, or not pennies, peanuts. That was Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry. No, my bad. It's this is a refresher for this show for us. We haven't done one of these in a while, other than Friday the 13th. And real fast, we're doing the top 25 of 2022 on Wednesday on the Horror Syndicate Discourse, and it's a weird list to say the least.
Very.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Tell me about what you like and why you like those scenes because there are quite humorous scenes as well. It's like Superman. the oil tanker one, like he's doing it for some booty. A lot of it, The my favorite gag is the Olympic torch, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole thing, and it's mainly because of Christopher Reeve. His performance is great. Like getting to see him play the total opposite of the way he's played the character before is
Hmm.
just a lot of fun, and I think that's what really kind of elevates this movie a little bit for me, where I prefer this over Quest for Peace.
Yeah, I mean, he did this when I was watching it with my daughter the other day. This one, I was like, this is probably his best acting job in all four of his movies. And I know that might be a stretch, but he plays two different sides of Superman, and he does it quite well. And another one of my favorite parts I just thought of was whenever Lorelai's, he goes to the mountain and she's like, "Hi, honey." He's like, "Ma'am, I don't know you," or something like that. I was like, "Whoo, shit, Superman, cold as ice."
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah, I mean, I can see why people don't like this, but man, I really have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean I watch it. I mean, I watch all of them really. I mean, I don't even have like I mean, I know especially Quest for Peace is really bad, but like if I marathon these movies, I'll put it on and I'll watch it and I'll laugh at it and I'll have fun with it.
Yeah, I really love the. There's so much I like about it because it's goofy and like the bowling scene, like I said, and I do like the scene where Richard Pryor and the Brad guy gets drunk, and then you know Clark gives her that ring, and Brad comes in, and he's all butthurt.
Yeah.
What else you got in Smallville? What a bastard. Um, it's Friday 5 of Superman films. I could see that. It's the Halloween 3 of Superman films. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. Helena and I were writing down all the horror movies she's seen, and we get to Halloween. She goes, "Okay." I was like, "You've seen Halloween? You've seen Halloween 2? You've seen Halloween 3?" She's like, "Yep, my favorite." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, yeah." I didn't even prompt her to say that. Anyway, are you sure she's not your daughter? She loves Phantasm. She loves The Fly. She loves Halloween 3.
Well, I guess now's the time to tell you, Ray.
Oh
Sorry.
shit. Yeah. Nearly 10 years ago, I made my way to Illinois. Anyway,
Yep.
what else do we want to go over in Superman 3?
Um
Anybody have any thoughts they want to share with us? Anybody who watches later, we won't be able to say it, but I think everybody wants us to talk about Halloween Ends. Halloween Kills is Helena's least favorite, by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah, she told me that too. She said she liked Halloween Ends. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. Which one do you want to do next? Do you want to do Superman 2, or Man of Steel?
Yeah, so we've had a funky order with these. Um I
Yeah, I
don't know.
know.
Now that we got the not so good ones out of the way, I don't know. You want to start with the original and then do
V
then
says Man of
two.
Steel.
I could talk about
Okay.
Man of Steel all day long.
Yeah,
That's my favorite.
I've never seen 2 through 4, but I'm here to chill. You've never seen Superman 2?
You gotta see Superman 2.
I feel like that's really the one that was on, like, the channel 11, local channel, like on Saturdays. It's a double feature: Superman 2 and Jaws. That's what it would be like on Saturday afternoons.
Dude, Superman 2 is awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
Superman 2.
That's my second favorite Superman movie.
Is it? I
Hmm.
think my favorite is the original, uh, because it's a perfect 3-act structure movie. You get
Yeah.
Smallville, Metropolis, and then Superman. You know, and there are little scenes in the movie that I just adore, like the scene where he catches the bullet when him and Lois are being held up, early on in the movie.
Yeah,
and he just looks at it, and I just Christopher Reeve, like he was born to play Superman. Even
yeah.
in that movie, his first go, he got it, and I'm glad they stuck with him, or had him as Superman, because earlier in the movie it's this guy.
Yep. It's funny too. I noticed when watching Superman 3 recently during the class reunion thing, they had a picture. They had the high school pictures up, and they had Christopher Reeve instead
Yeah,
of Cousin Booker,
Cousin
which was
Tucker. Yeah,
weird. Yeah.
yeah. I wish the picture of him would have been this instead, all angry and shit. I don't know. I like Superman 3. Luke, if you have HBO Max, I know you're. I don't think he's a big DC guy, is what it is. Like I feel like I feel like in the comments on the Rage of Razor show, he was mentioning something about not liking certain movies. I can't remember what they are though. But I don't know. I feel like you should probably check out Superman 2, 3, and 4. Maybe not 4. But they're on HBO Max right now, and the Donner cut's really good. It just you got to remember that they what are they, like work prints or some shit? They like pieced it together from uh like lost, because the originally Superman and Superman 2 were supposed to be filmed back to back, right? And
They did, yeah, they shot most of part two, and then there was some sort of dispute between Richard Donner and the studio, and then they brought in someone else and they did some reshoots. But
I think
yeah,
you should
I
draw
think it was
Batman.
just one big script from Mario Puzo.
Yeah, the Godfather's
Yep.
creator. Um, have you ever drawn Batman, Luke? I'd like to see you draw Batman. Yeah, I I have a really weird relationship with these four Superman movies, because there are times that I just love them because of the charm, nostalgia, all that stuff. But at the same time, I like I watch a Man of Steel and be like, God damn, this is so much cooler. And it is, because Man of Steel, the effects are so much better. I like Cavill quite a bit. There's a lot to. I hate Amy Adams as Lois, by the way. Um, I don't know. I just something about these. There's times I'm like, nah, they're too dated, but then I go back and watch them, like, oh man, I remember why I like these. So yeah, so I guess we'll do Man of Steel next, and then we'll do Superman 2, and then Superman 1. We'll finish that way, and then we'll
Okay.
rank them, and
Sounds
then we'll
good.
have the audience ranking too. But it's just a difference of eras. Yes. Oh, I have a surprise coming from. Oh, okay. Oh, sounds good, dude. Batman is involved. Well, if you didn't know, Batman's always involved with me. I may have some Batman underoos on right now. And then maybe we'll do some Batman movies. The other thing we want to do with this channel is talk about some of the geek culture news that happens, because like the new Ant-Man poster came out today, and I just can't be that excited about it. Uh, I'm gonna wait and reserve judgment until I see it. But the last, whew, I can't, like the last seven Marvel movies have just not hit right for me, and that includes Spider-Man. So the Doctor Strange movie wasn't bad. Thor was not good. I did not care for Wakanda Forever. It wasn't. They couldn't recapture the magic, and I don't think it was just Chadwick Boseman. It's just in general. We'll talk some Marvel movies as well. We're gonna get into all this stuff. I know Seth wants to talk about Die Hard at some point, because that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Greatest movie ever made, man.
I don't know about that, but I think The Godfather is the greatest movie ever made. That's
I
just
mean,
my
it's good,
opinion.
but it's no Die Hard.
Oh man, should we do, without Nate? But should we do these two for this show? The Amazon reviews.
I mean,
That'd
if
be
you want to put
fun,
in the time to do that.
huh?
I mean, if you want to put in the time to do that.
Man, I gotta make all the fucking other stuff for this show. No Way Home for Tom Holland was it to carry a film. What? No, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, No Way Home for me was just another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, and then Andrew Garfield shows up, and I was in after that. I was interested after that. Once Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire came in, I was like, yeah. Otherwise, I didn't care for the movie at all. It's just another bullshit MCU Spider-Man, which I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of, by the way.
Well,
I know
obviously
you're not.
neither am I, and I've gotten a lot of shit for not being on board with the Tom Holland Iron Lad movies.
Yeah, it's funny because I'd rather see Tom Holland, the director, play Spider-Man. No, Tom Holland himself is not the problem. It's the movies he's been given. I'm
Yeah.
hoping for his fourth outing it'll be better. But like the Tony Stark thing, whatever. It's not even that for me. It's like the movies themselves are just kind of not good in general.
Yep.
Like I didn't mind the Mysterio angle. I thought that was kind of cool, and I like that they had Mysterio finally show up. But I didn't care for the story. It's like I felt I don't know. It's just they don't feel right. I think part of it is like I like my Spider-Man swinging through New York City, and you know what I'm saying. Like they take him out of New York City in the first two movies. He's not just web swinging around. You know. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Uncharted ever. Yeah, it was a complete miscast. Why wasn't Mark Wahlberg the main character? He looks exactly like the fucking guy. I know that's a video game thing. You don't play video games, do you?
No, I got anger issues.
So do I, but I get through it by screaming into a pillow and punching the wall. You should see my walls. Dot 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 dot. No, I'm joking. Um, uh, there is a hole in the wall leading upstairs on this little landing area. One night, when I was coming upstairs and you have to turn a corner, and Elizabeth jumped out and scared the shit out of me. I'm not even joking. I was on the top step, so I fell back and put basically my ass into the wall because she scared the living shit out of me. Yeah, anyway, Spider Man. We'll do all three of those in one show, I think. Spider Man. I'm not a huge Spider Man guy anyway. Andrew Garfield's my favorite. His movies aren't great, but I like him as Spider Man the best.
Hey, if you want to talk about the Raimi movies, I will definitely do those because I fucking love and adore those movies. I like Andrew's movies too, but I don't know if I'd want to really talk about the Iron Lad.
When was the last time you ranked those?
After No Way Home.
We should just do a Spider Man rank all of them, all those movies.
Yeah.
The was it 8 movies then? I think that'll be a fun episode. Then we don't have to concentrate on Bonesaw. We don't have to concentrate on those 3 movies that you hate so much.
Don't know what that
Y'all are
means, Luke.
stuck with smells. I have no clue what that means. Is it because we don't like Spider Man? The movies, the new movies. Anyway, so let's get onto our scores for Superman 3, and we'll wrap this one up. And again, anybody who comes in, please hit the subscribe button so we can make more of these episodes and have a good time talking about comic book movies and shite. Eventually, like I said, I'd like to talk. There's not been much news. We'll do a whole. I'd like to do a whole DC like episode about what the hell after James Gunn announces all his plans or his first phase or whatever the hell he's doing. Which I think he said this month is going to happen, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's very. That's one good / bad thing about him is he's very open and we get to hear a lot from him, which I don't know if that's good or bad. But I think he needs to shut up till things are like actually being announced. Anyway, so first up is you. You gave Superman 3 a 57%.
Yeah, I think it's pretty average in its filmmaking. Story wise, I felt like it had potential, just a little too wasted on trying to be a comedy. And Richard Pryor is a great comedian, but in a way, I feel like having a minute kind of hurt the movie overall. Yeah, I mean it's not great. It's not really anything that offends me either. I will definitely I can watch it. It's not a problem for me.
Yeah, I like it for what it is, and my rating is exactly the same. So 57% across the board. I like it. I can watch it and I'm entertained. I miss these old Superman posters like this, by the way.
Yeah.
They were fun. But overall, we have a 57% audience score is 65%. So a little bit higher for Superman. It was 62% until my son went and put a 10 on it. And he put a 10 on it just for Gus Gorman alone. So it's like, all right, whatever. Respect. Anyway, so yeah, if there's any movie you want us to discuss, let us know. We'll do better as we go on. It's been first of all, I did not sleep last night, so I'm on almost no sleep, so I'm very tired. Part of it was trying to get these damn graphics made for the Horror Syndicate Discourse on Wednesday. You know, like this is why I asked for the lists on Saturday, so I could get this shit done and not have to do it in one day. They take forever to make,
Yeah.
but people complain. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go to sleep in a few minutes. Make sure you share the horse syndicate. Jesus, share Rage of Razor. Let your friends know all about it so we can get some more people subscribing and talking and rating movies because that's fun for me anyway. As soon as we're done with superhero movies, which I think we're very close, I gotta look. We're gonna probably move into Star Wars because that's the thing I want to do next. And I mean, it's my page, so yeah. And then we'll do some action movies because I want to do like Rambo and James Bond movies, especially. Which I'm curious to see how many people like James Bond out of the current followers. Um, I don't know. Anyway, yes, yes. Good night, Seth. You have anything you want to say before we go?
Um. Well, since this is not the horror syndicate, I can't say Evil Dies Tonight, but I'll have to think of one for this one.
Otisville.
It's
There's a
Otisburg.
shirt. I saw a shirt that said Otisville. It's a nice little place or something like that. Or Otisburg. Otisburg.
Yeah.
Anyway, God, I'm tired. I got to get some rest. All right. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you. I guess we'll probably try to do this again next Monday. And then Tuesday, what is it called? Supernatural Syndicate. Then the Horror Syndicate Discourse, night off on Thursday and Friday. It's right back to it with THS Up All Night, and we will be discussing Jason Lives. And I believe it's Friday the 13th, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, man, how that worked out well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is awesome. So hopefully we'll get a good show or a good, bunch of people. So make sure you tell all your friends about the Horror Syndicate so we can talk about Jason Lives, the very finest in adult entertainment. No, that's not right. Yes and yes. And remember to watch Man of Steel because we will talk about that next week. Anyway, have a great night. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, please. If you have a Gmail, you can do it. Bye.